Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome, AfterBuzzers, to another edition of Monday Night Football. Alongside my girl, Stef Z.
What's up, Tina Cap? How you doing?
Hi.
It's just us tonight.
It's just the girls tonight.
That's all right. It was a late game, just the girls.
Yeah.
We got it.
So tell everyone first off where they can find you on Instagram or Twitter if they want to tweet at you today.
You guys can tweet me. You can find me on both, at IAMSTEFZ. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the game, my Jets that they suck again, and anything else football you'd like to talk about, or anything.
Yes, and you can find me on Instagram or Twitter at TinaCap. And it was a interesting game, to say the least, tonight. We had the Colts against the Panthers. The Panthers went into it 6-0, came out of it 7-0.
Yeah.
But it was not pretty.
It wasn't pretty, but I mean, I think we just got to be serious here for a second. It wasn't all their fault.
No.
And a lot of times, I mean, that rain.
Mother Nature.
Yeah, I was in Charlotte last week, and the way that it rains on the East Coast, especially the Southeast, it's just something that California doesn't ever see, and a lot of people probably don't see. I mean, it's literally like sheets of rain. Their visibility, they probably couldn't even see in front of them. So all the fumbles, turnovers, missed snaps, I mean, like, I don't think we can really... You know, it's funny, because it's like all these guys' stats are going to suffer in a way because of the weather, which I don't know is exactly fair.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean... that's what I'm kind of curious about, and we talked about it a little bit when we were watching the game, is there anything these guys can do to kind of combat the, mishaps of the weather? Like, how can they fix their gloves to make them catch the ball easier? I don't know. Like, is there a way? Or
no, I feel like that would all be illegal.
Screwed, I guess.
I feel like it's illegal to put anything to, like, if you put a wax or something.
Of course it's illegal, but all guys do it.
Right. But what I'm saying is, I don't think that there's enough rain. I mean, we were almost joking around about it, but how do you practice this? I mean, get fire trucks with fire hoses to spray on it. You know what I mean? It's like you can't really practice for Mother Nature and the conditions that she'll bring. But in the same sense, I mean, the only thing that you can say is that it's across the board equally terrible for both teams.
Right.
I mean, that field in itself is thrashed.
Yeah.
But I don't know, for me, I don't know. I mean, yes, it's, makes it susceptible for more injury, which we didn't really have, so I was happy about that. But I kind of love football like this.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It just reminds me of, like, growing up in New York and going out in the snow and playing football. You know what I mean? Like, who cares what's happening? You just do it.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a fun game to watch for the most part, but there was just so many errors, and I know, like we said, it can't really be put all on these guys, because you could see when they zoomed in close how much it was just dumping rain.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like to play in that weather.
No, and the fact, too, is, like, how many of these guys are going to be... I mean, I know, like, it's mother's myth, don't go out with a wet head and stuff like that, but, like, how many of these guys are going to be feeling crappy tomorrow because they've been out all night sweating in this pouring rain that's chilly, Like, it's not good. It's just interesting. It's interesting. Sometimes it brings up the conversation for me, like, why isn't every stadium just in a dome so that every stadium would be the same, you know what I mean? Like, if every stadium...
Or at least have a retractable ceiling.
Right, or, I mean, like, I get that it's part of the whole home field advantage to have your stadium and your weather and stuff, but would it even this playing field, literally, if every stadium had the same... had to be at the same temperature, had to be at the same this, had to be at the same that? I mean, I don't know, it's an interesting...
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it would even the playing field, but
it will never happen.
It won't be fun. Then you won't ever have those snowy Lambeau games. Like, or a game like today, or if you were in Seattle, it could have been the same thing, just dumping rain. And I think that kind of just, it's fun. And maybe, it's not necessarily a home field advantage because these guys still have to play in this crazy rain. It's not like they're completely used to it or anything. So I guess today the playing field was leveled because of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But we had, the Panthers started off strong. They barely eked it out at the end. What did you think? What was your overall take of Cam Newton's performance tonight?
I feel like, number one, I'm a big Cam Newton fan, have been, followed him in college, followed him throughout his dad, all the, chaos, rumors, stories about Cam Newton. I feel like he's playing very confident. I feel that he's playing very consistent and accurate. I feel like he might have got a little bit cocky at the middle of this game, thinking they had this game won. And then, Andrew Luck, I feel like, was somewhat in a slump and maybe got woken up, so to speak. But I don't know if you saw, but there was a pretty interesting press conference with Cam Newton last week. And he was just saying, and they were like, how do you feel? Like, what does it make you feel like that your team's 6-0 or, last week? And he was like, doesn't make me feel anything. And then he was like, wait, time out. That's not what I meant. You know what I mean? Because he knows who he is. He's going to get ripped apart in the media. And he's like, of course that makes me happy, but it's game by game. You know what I mean? So the fact that he was aware enough to say that, and I know on the field he seems super cocky, but in his press conferences he always seems pretty well spoken to me and pretty humble, and he loves the game. Like, there's a lot of these quarterbacks that you can just tell, not that people are, I mean, yes, some athletes are there just because it's a job, but like, he's one of the ones that love the game.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it shows. Like, even when he does maybe give up and then he has to come back in overtime, he knows, all right, we got to get it together, and he can get his team fired up because he has that heart.
Well, I don't think it was all on him either, that kind of like slump in the second half. I think the defense slowed up a bit too. But I agree with you. I mean, you see it when he's going all out, and I don't know how many rush yards he had tonight, but it's like he's taking these massive hits and trying to gain the first down for his team, which a lot of quarterbacks don't do. A lot of quarterbacks don't move, or they'll run out of bounds. Like, he's giving it his all, and he's so athletic that it's just like crazy to watch sometimes, him jump over guys or barrel through guys without, and you forget, you're like, wait, that's their quarterback.
Yeah. And I feel like he's one, I don't know. You tell me, is there someone that comes to mind that's like him? Because you have your Kaepernicks, you have your RG3s.
Kaepernick used to be like him.
Right, because they're all super mobile quarterbacks, but they all kind of, in a way, aren't pocket passers. But I feel like Cam's kind of found more of a balance than any of the other guys out there that are as mobile as he is.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's probably the closest comparison.
Yeah, that's true.
But I still think Cam is just much more athletic, and he's taller, and Russell Wilson is pretty short for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Where I think Cam has that advantage for himself.
Yeah. And I feel like maybe it's because of all that, but Cam just has a different presence on the field than Russell Wilson, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, they're coming back now. Seattle's turned the corner too, but I feel like he's a leader, Cam Newton. He gets out on the field and people want to play for him and they trust him. And if he changes at the line, like, his guys are enrolled in what he's doing.
I agree. And we saw that stat during the game. He's tied for second for most rushing touchdowns since 2012 or 2011 when he came in the league. And that's with Beast Mode and Adrian Peterson. So
yeah, pretty good company.
I mean, that's pretty impressive in and of itself that a quarterback can be tied with a couple of these great running backs. So he's obviously, like we said, very athletic, and we saw that tonight for sure. And he's got a cannon of an arm.
Yeah.
Like, there was a couple of balls that he threw, I was just like, wow. Like, the one that he actually threw that it was an interception in the first half was just a bomb.
Yeah.
I mean, it was stupid. He threw it into double coverage, I think, but still, like, a bomb.
Yeah, but the fact that he can throw it,
When the ball's soaking wet,
right?
too?
The fact that he has the confidence to throw it into double coverage when the ball's so wet and he has the distance. I mean, like, granted, it was off and whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, not many quarterbacks would even take that chance, or it would end up horribly different.
Yeah.
So.
And we ought to mention, too, that the Panthers, with Kelvin Benjamin, who is injured right now, but they have 6 number 1 picks on their team.
Oh, yeah.
Kelvin Benjamin, Funchess, Jonathan Stewart, Cam Newton. Well,
because they were so terrible for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's... And you take a franchise like the Carolina Panthers, it's like, you know, they got Cam Newton as the number 1 pick in 2011, right?
Yes.
So it's like, you know, it took 4 years to rebuild that team. And it took 4 years, like the first couple years, they weren't great. You know, so it's almost like they're due. And now they've taken the time and they've rebuilt, and they built it on more of a solid foundation rather than on a foundation of quicksand, which I feel like a lot of people do when they bring in these number 1 quarterbacks and everything else isn't built around them, and then it's just a fail. And you have situations like Kaepernick or at Luck, who, you know, maybe was in a slump, maybe he's come out of it, but still he's not what everyone thought he was going to be this year. Yeah,
no, I 100% agree. And I was trying to look for my stat. Did we say that this is the first 6-0 start in franchise history for the Panthers? Ever. Well, now 7-0.
Yeah.
So that's major for them.
Yeah.
And to come from, it's funny, it's crazy how big of a, first of all, this was also the first meeting of Luck and Newton ever in their careers, which was interesting. But
because they have been compared so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was such a switch this season with the NFC South last season being the worst division, and now the AFC South this year is the worst division, with the Colts. I think they're still leading that 3-5.
Yeah, I think they are too.
The Texans are at 3-5 as well, right?
Yeah, but I think that they won more division games.
Yeah,
so they should still be.
They are. Yeah,
on
they're
top.
2-0 in the division, I believe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it's like, okay, complete opposite, or just a flip-flop basically of what happened last year. And look at the Panthers last year. They won the division with a losing record, and now they come into this season 7-0. So they've definitely turned a corner. And I mean, I think that the way that they're playing right now, they have a good chance to continue. I mean, it's hard. I think
I do too, because
it'd be hard to find a team that they would lose to right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, too, because their D is so strong right now, too. Yeah. That, for me, is, you know, you see these guys making these amazing plays when it's pouring rain out. So not only is Cam Newton doing the work on the offense, his D is keeping it so that he doesn't have to do double, triple work and take all the responsibility for himself. So I agree with you. I don't know, the Panthers are looking good this year.
Yeah, and I just got the little update on my phone. This is the first time in league history that 4 teams have started 7-0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting. I'm trying to pull up my stats right now because I want to see who the Panthers play in their next couple of games. But anyway, so aside from Cam Newton, Jonathan Stewart had a great game tonight. I mean, he did have that one. Did he have 1 or 2 fumbles tonight?
I know he definitely had 1. I know we had to listen to the rest of the game. No, Cam Newton had the fumble that when they were on like the 2-yard line.
Yeah.
But it was like a wet mess. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like a normal fumble where someone like swatted it and he just wasn't holding on and he has to, you know, work on his ball security this week. It was freaking pouring rain and someone handed him a wet blanket and he dropped it. You know what I mean?
No, you're totally right. So it's like we said before, it's like you can't really put too much stock into these fumbles and give these guys too much, you know, crap for it, because it was pretty hard to hold on to that ball. Okay, so where am I here? Let's see. Panthers play the Packers next week, which will be a good, definitely a good matchup, because the Packers are coming off a pretty embarrassing loss to the Broncos.
Yeah, which are also undefeated.
Yes.
Broncos.
Yes.
So, I wonder how...
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
I think it'll be a good game, and honestly, I think the game ending the way that it did will only fuel the Panthers to get more ready, because if it would have just been a blowout, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe it would have been different, but now they almost lost it. Now they're going into base Green Bay. I feel like, I mean, I'm sure they prepare every week, regardless of who they play the next week. But sometimes it's, mentally in these guys' psyche on who they're playing, on who they beat and stuff like that. So I don't know. That'll be a really, really...
And they'll be at home again. So I don't know if the weather's supposed to be like that again on Sunday with the dumping rain. That would be interesting. Yeah. Colts are going up against the Broncos. I mean, I don't see them having much of a chance.
I'm going to write that down so we could do our... wait, is it at Denver?
No, they're in Indianapolis. Okay. So at least they've got home field advantage going for them, but I don't know about that. So, let's flip over to the other side with the quarterback for Andrew Luck. And we spoke about it a little bit that he kind of just looked almost, I don't know if it was that he looked scared or he was just uncomfortable playing in the rain. I feel like it's almost
defeated too.
I think it was more just he was playing, like he was scared to make a mistake because of the rain, and in turn he was making mistakes. Yeah. And then once it, the rain kind of stopped a little bit and they crawled back and realized they had a chance. They're down by 10. Like, let's go. Let's do this. You kind of saw Andrew Luck turn a corner, and then it was like, oh, there's the Andrew Luck we know. Yeah. Where has he been?
Yeah, for me, I think what resonates is that there's been no sense of urgency from him. Yes. And I feel like that's what we got back. And yeah, Andrew Luck is a phenomenal quarterback, but he just hasn't been consistent this year. So if he can really, maybe this game woke him up, and who knows what will happen. So I feel like... But something that you had mentioned when we were watching the game was the stat that the rushing since Andrew Luck has got there. What was that stat?
So since Andrew Luck joined in 2012, the Colts have had one game where a player has rushed for more than 100 yards.
Yeah, that's insane.
And that was in 2012.
And it's not like they don't have
Frank Gore rushed for 70 yards tonight.
Yeah, which he was a beast in this rain.
Yeah.
And then... they've got Bradshaw, which I know he's not in his prime anymore, but still, how much did Bradshaw get?
31 yards.
Still, it's just very, they could have somewhat of a run game, I think.
I mean, their stats actually don't really look that great. I mean, Andre Johnson, 81 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions. Waylon, 5 receptions, 48 yards. Fleener, 7 receptions, 43 yards, 1 touchdown. Right. So it's like... they didn't really do that much. I don't know. Yeah, I guess...
Still, 29-26. That's a lot of points that somehow got on the board.
Yeah, well, the Colts had 20 unanswered points until the Panthers finally scored in overtime. So they really came back... Because, you thought it was over at the half.
Well, it would have been over if, the extra point wasn't missed either, which is crazy because how many times do you see, a place kicker miss the extra point? It doesn't really happen a lot. Yeah. So, but, I mean, he redeemed himself by making that 41-yard field goal, was it? Or 42-yard field goal? Yeah, but in the same sense, it's like, you gotta make those, gimme points,
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I'm surprised Jonathan Stewart only rushed for 82 yards.
Oh, yeah, it seemed like more.
Because an interesting stat is the Panthers are 11-1 when Stewart has 100-plus yards.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's really cool.
I know. So, okay, back to Luck. We touched on him for a little bit. Do you think that he's going to be able to carry over this play that he had, basically? I mean, take away that last interception by Kuechly that ended the game, but he... played much better in those last couple of drives. Do you think he's going to be able to carry that over, or is he going to revert back to how he's been playing and struggling all season so far?
I would like to say I hope he's going to play better because I'm an Andrew Luck fan, but I don't know. Going up against the Broncos, I mean, if the Broncos destroy them, I feel like it's going to do nothing but really hurt on his ego.
Yeah, you can tell that he really takes all of this to heart. Yeah. He is extremely passionate about the game, and he's so hard on himself, and you can just tell when you see him walk off the field, like, he's not looking around at anyone else. He's, oh man, like, to himself. Yeah. Like, you can tell that he just internalizes all of this, and I'm sure he probably tries not to listen to the media, but there comes a point where you kind of can't get away from it completely.
Right.
So, and people have been criticizing him all season so far. So I think that he just really because a lot of the announcers, I was watching the
closed
captions, yeah, and they kept saying something's wrong with him. He has to be hurt. Something's wrong with him.
Right.
And Lisa Salters said he didn't go over to any of the trainers. He hasn't talked to any medical staff. Like, nothing's wrong. But they're thinking there's no other explanation for the way he's playing but that he's hurt.
Yeah, which is the go-to for a lot of people when it could be, something happened in the locker room. It could be he's just mentally not there for any amount of reason. It could be he doesn't feel good. It could be whatever, So It's like, it sucks that there's so many conclusions that are jumped to, but I just feel like, at the end of the day, sometimes the guys have a bad freaking game. Yeah. They're human too, So, but I do think that I don't think that we've seen the best of Andrew Luck for his career. I feel like this isn't like he's peaked and he's going downhill or anything like that. I feel like he's just had a few off games. There's been lots of changes with, their line, with everything, so we'll just see what happens.
Sorry, my foot was stuck.
That's fine.
Yeah, so aside from the quarterbacks, we had the two defenses. I mean, the Colts, I felt like their defense...
A little lackluster,
but on the other hand, the Panthers defense looks great now.
Yeah, it does.
They kind of, like we said, we touched on earlier, they kind of lost steam a little bit there. And they mentioned it, too, in the broadcast that the pass rushing had, taken a step back with as far as their blitzing and stuff was going. But then you saw in the fourth quarter there at the end, Jared Allen sacked Andrew Luck towards the end of the game.
But go ahead.
No, and I was just going to say that the Panthers defense looks impressive when they want to.
Yeah. Well, I think too with the lack of blitzing, it's like when you have an offense that's not going to run the ball. I mean, I feel like sometimes the blitz is to shut down the run right away. You know what I mean? I get it. It's also to force a bad pass, but when they're not having there's more people that need to be covered because Andrew Luck passes more. So it's like when you got guys Norman, he made a sick play in the end zone to block up. To break up the pass to Hilton from Andrew Luck. It's like you've got a lot of these guys that you might bring in for the blitz covering these targets that Andrew Luck has because he has so many.
Right. Well, that's why they were having just one guy kind of be the pass rusher off the edge. I forgot who it was too, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah. So, and that was working for them.
Yeah.
And then that's what allowed the double coverage on some of Luck's number one targets, which was smart because I felt like he was kind of limited to where he could throw, and every time he threw, whether it was to Hilton or Fleener or Moncrief, whoever it was, they were all, I feel like more often than not, double covered, and so he was unable to make those completions, and then ultimately threw a couple interceptions as well. So I felt like all in all is what I'm trying to get at is the Panthers defense looks impressive.
Yeah, I think they look impressive. And I think, like we touched on earlier, I feel that it's not being left up to Cam Newton and the offense to deliver everything. There is a defense that will shut down. I mean, Andrew Luck's not, anything to write home about right now, but it will shut down other offenses that are good. Will it be enough to shut down Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers? I don't know. Maybe.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw what a good defense can do against Green Bay in the Broncos last night, and they really just looked horrible.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers got sacked quite a few times, if I remember correctly. I
missed some of the game for the World Series.
I don't remember exactly how many times, but I know that he was under a lot of pressure. We've talked about this before. His offensive line is not really the best.
Right.
And, yeah, I mean...
Ooh, I'm feeling like the Panthers might even do it.
I feel like since they're at home, if they were in Lambeau, I feel like there would be a little bit more of an edge to the Packers, but at home, after I guess you can call it come from behind, but it really wasn't, just a almost slipped out of our fingers victory.
Right.
Like you said earlier, I think the Panthers are in the mindset of, oh crap, we almost lost that game. when we shouldn't have even ever let them get that
Yeah,
close.
we can't even let it get. Yeah, we can't give up until it's over.
They're 7-0 now, and I think they want to continue.
That'd be awesome.
Continue that record. Yeah, why wouldn't you? One thing else that I do want to mention too, which is interesting and strange, all in the same
breath.
Yeah, like I can't speak right now. I'm so tired. Is T.Y. Hilton had 1 reception for 15 yards tonight.
Yeah, what's up? Is he hurt? I thought he was one of Andrew Luck's big targets.
He is. He had 7. He was targeted 7 times. Only 1 completion.
But I don't feel like a lot of that was his fault, was it? I feel like there was one time where no, it wasn't him.
Well, the first half you didn't see anything from him.
No, and he's playing special teams now too. Which is that always?
No, not always. I mean,
that's newer.
I think so. I just feel like he's kind of disappeared in that offense, and I'm just not really sure why.
Yeah.
He was playing well in the beginning of the season, but the last couple of games, he just, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to see what shakes out with that. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
Because I just remember him, in my mind, being superstar. Not like amazing, crazy.
No, but he's always a solid.
He's consistent.
Solid guy, yeah. So maybe there's something going on there. I don't really know.
I don't know either. We'll have to see.
But we're short on time tonight because that game went into overtime, so we have to get into predictions now.
All right.
For next week.
I'm ready.
Yes.
And now...
Am I going to go first, or are you going to go first?
Well, my Chargers are on Monday Night Football for a second time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Who are
going
they
up
playing?
Against the Chicago Bears.
That's right.
The Bears. So, Steph, who are you choosing? I mean, you already know who I'm choosing. So
I mean, I feel like that's like a sloppy of sloppy. That's just like, I don't know, like, for me, that one's like, do you want me to root with you or root against you?
I feel like this is going to be a game just like the last couple of games where the Chargers look like they're in it. They, get down to the last seconds of the game, whatever, and it just slips out of their hands because that's just the type of
but
team
you can't bet against your
no,
team.
I'm not going to bet against my team.
All right, well, I'll root with you.
Okay, so we're both going Chargers.
This is why I can't bet on football, because I bet with my heart. So I will bet with you. I will wear my Lightning Bolt sweatshirt again.
Cool.
And then we've got Green Bay versus the Panthers.
Yeah.
In Charlotte.
Honestly, I'm gonna just go out and say I'm gonna take the Panthers.
Oh wow!
I know that's like could be considered a reach pick, but I don't really think it is.
I know. I don't think it is either. But are the Green Bay gonna? I'm gonna go with Green Bay.
Okay.
I kind of want the Panthers to win though, but I'm gonna keep it in.
Denver for sure. Like the Colts are not gonna beat the Broncos. There's no chance.
I'm gonna go with the Colts.
Okay.
Let's. I'm gonna give my faith to Andrew Luck. I'm gonna say that he's gonna bounce back. I'm gonna say that Peyton Manning coming off that win from Green Bay, they're gonna the Colts almost knocked out one undefeated team tonight. Maybe they'll do it next week. That's
but I just think.
I could be totally wrong and lose all 3, and I'm okay with that. Because at the end of the day, for me, it's a lot more fun just to root for the teams I want to win.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'm just wondering,
I don't think Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos are going to be a team that gets to 10-0, 11-0. I don't think that they're that.
But you think the Colts are going to knock them off? The Broncos defense is playing lights out right now.
No, probably not. But I'm just going to make it interesting.
Okay. Fine.
No, I mean.
All right, you guys heard Steph Z's prediction, so tell them again where they can find you if they want to talk to you about your horrible picks.
Oh, yeah, you guys can tweet me or Instagram me at IAMSTEFZ.
And you can find me again on Twitter or Instagram at Tina Cap, and we will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. I don't know some...
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.